Right. So for what it's worth, here's my opinion on UFC 229. I initially recorded a video in the hours following the event, but I thought to myself, you know what? Let's sleep on this opinion, see if I feel the same way the next day after the shock of the event wore off. And unfortunately, my opinion is still the same, even with some of the other opinions that have been coming out that other people have. UFC 229 won't be remembered for what I hope to be his Gray Maynard's retirement fight. It won't be remembered for an amazing Derek Lewis comeback and an all-time interview after the fact. It won't be remembered for Dominic Reyes' coming out party where he just dominated Ovince St. Preux. It will not be remembered for Tony Ferguson and Anthony Pettis having a Fight of the Year contender. And ultimately, it won't be remembered for Khabib Nurmagomedov defeating Conor McGregor. It will be remembered for the fight after the fact, which again is a shame because the card itself was good to great. No doubt about it. People got their money's worth on Saturday. And again, everything else I mentioned is completely overshadowed. The fight itself, the main event itself, is overshadowed by what happened afterwards. When it comes to the fight itself, there was a couple of different ways that it could have gone, whether it be Conor, having a kind of similar result with what happened against Chad Mendes, where he was able to overcome it despite some early struggles. It ended up being more like a GSP Carlos Condit situation. I love me some Carlos Condit, but still, the situation where it's like, okay, he has a chance, he has a puncher's chance, but can he stop the takedowns? Condit couldn't, and ultimately, Conor McGregor could not either. And Khabib did what Khabib does and proved just how dominant he is, which I think everybody knew. Obviously, you had moments, the Michael Johnson fight and everything like that, where you knew people had a puncher's chance against him. Maybe his chin wasn't the strongest, but as he's continued to evolve, as his stand-up game has continued to evolve, and again, it's going to keep getting better too. When you have as good of a base as he does in wrestling and just his groundwork in general, the fact that he's going to keep getting better is such a scary thought with how dominant he already is. As in the next few years, we're going to find out whether or not he solidifies himself, if he's not already close to it as one of the greatest lightweights of all time, if not the greatest lightweight of all time. In the next few years, he could easily solidify, I can't speak, he could easily solidify his spot on the top pound-for-pound list of all time. Is that out of the question? We'll see. Is he going to be in one of those top 5, top 10 spots by the end of his run? Perhaps. But what he is going to be remembered for is the bullshit that he pulled on Saturday. And in that statement, some people are immediately going to dismiss this as, oh, you're a Conor fanboy. Am I a fan of Conor McGregor? Yes. And here's the thing. I'm also a pro wrestling fan. What Conor McGregor does is pro wrestling. He does what Muhammad Ali did. He does what Floyd Mayweather does. It is that self-promotion that either gets you to love him or hate him, but regardless, you care about him in that you care about the result of his fights. So whether or not you dislike Conor McGregor or not, you have to admit you do care. I don't care, I didn't buy the pay-per-view. No, but you wanted to find out what happened though, didn't you? That's the point. Seeing Conor McGregor lose didn't rip my heart out, okay? I'm not a Conor McGregor fanboy. I'm not a Khabib fanboy either, but holy hell do I respect what he is. I'm not going to sit there and say like, oh, Khabib, Tony Ferguson, like, I'm going to love that fight, but, if Khabib wins, or, if he wins, am I throwing a party? No. If he loses, do I feel like my heart's been ripped out of my chest? No. I like both fighters, though, in that I respect the hell out of them and what they can do in that cage. And obviously, Khabib proved that he is on an entirely different level. But what he did on Saturday is fucking bullshit. Oh, well, what about what Conor did? And that's where my argument is that I held off on making this video for in the first place. That being, the actions of one douche do not justify the actions of another douche, or at least their douchey actions. So, has Khabib done some douchey fucking things in the past 48 hours or so? Yeah, he has. Has Conor had a track record of douchey things? Sure. And it's like, well, Conor did this at the bus, and, well, really, it started when Conor moved up to lightweight and took Khabib's title fight. Regardless of what's happened, Khabib shot himself in the fucking foot on Saturday. I don't care about the Dolly incident. I don't care. Clearly, Khabib does about what Conor was saying leading up to it. And if it's of your opinion that insulting family, bringing up religion in the sense of here, have a drink, if it bothers you that Conor threw some accusations out there against members of Khabib's camp, which, by the way, I will link a video in the description to a video that MMA On Point put together talking about all of that, way more in depth than I care to go at the moment, then sure, I get it. And clearly, again, Khabib felt the same way. He didn't view it as, oh, this is promotional trash talk. He viewed it as personal attacks. That aside, right? That aside, you won the fight in relatively dominant fashion. You take the high ground. Oh, but Dylan Dennis was talking shit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. If you go out to a bar and some dude talks shit to you, and then you go out another night, and that same dude's there talking shit to you, just because he's talking shit to you does not give you the right to assault him, which is what Khabib did. It doesn't matter what the insults are. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your upbringing is. And especially in this context where the best thing, and we all know this, the best thing Khabib could have done is grab that title, stand in the middle of the ring, being awarded that title, and fucking tell everybody off on that microphone and that time you earned by winning the fight. I fucking told you so. Fuck these guys. You're what's wrong with the sport, by going way beyond personal promotion and hype promotion and by taking it too far. Instead, regardless, it was heat of the moment. Regardless, guess what? You got to pay the consequences for heat of the moment shit. He jumps the fence and starts a near riot. Oh, but Conor threw a punch too. Conor threw a punch after Khabib jumped into Conor's fucking crew. I don't want to see any of that bullshit of, did you see the punch that Conor threw on the guy who was sitting on the cage, on the fence? Yeah, and that's in the immediate aftermath of Khabib jumping over said fucking fence and starting what he started. You're just defending Conor. I'm not. These are facts. Period. At the end of the day, is Conor a douche? Yeah, he can certainly cross that line, at the very least. Is Khabib a douche? He can certainly cross that line, and did so on Saturday, and to me it's a damn shame. Now, as far as what happens next, do I think there'll be suspensions? Maybe. Fines? Definitely. Do we see any green cards revoked? No. Do we see a title vacation? No. Or, would it be title vacation? Do we see a vacated title? No. No. As far as what happens next, for Conor, is it a rematch? I can't imagine so. The fight was competitive, but not that competitive. He needs something else, whether it is a Tony Ferguson, whether it is the winner of Pettis Diaz, like, I don't know. And it's the same thing for Khabib. I mean, you'd think Tony Ferguson would be next, but are they going to be weary to book that with the history of the fight falling apart 4 times? Who the hell knows? The situation certainly isn't clear at this point. I am going to be intrigued to see how it all plays out. But that's pretty much what it comes down to. Is bus incident aside, Conor's personal attacks aside, that doesn't justify Khabib to do what he did, which is attacking people who were not signed up for a fight on Saturday, even if one of them in particular was running his mouth. That does not justify you assaulting said person. Conor gets assaulted as well. Sure, he threw a punch, but again, Khabib is the one that instigated all that. Dylan Dennis, again, might have been running his mouth. It doesn't matter. You let him run his mouth because you just fucking dominated his boy in that cage. The end. So, really, that's all I gotta say on the situation. Again, it is a little bit of a shame to see how it all played out, and like I said, I'm going to be intrigued as far as suspensions go, fines at the very least, who's next as far as matchups as well, and whether or not, who specifically gets banned from the UFC from Khabib's camp, because that's probably going to happen. Wouldn't be surprised to see Dylan Dennis not exactly be welcome back either. And shout out to Brendan Schaub for predicting that something was going to happen. He didn't say exactly what, but he had a bad feeling something was going to happen, and indeed it did. But at the end of the day, all of this is going to be used for UFC promotion down the line. We all know this, which is why a lot of people are calling fix, but just no. The UFC, if they were to be discovered that they like kind of encourage this to happen, they'd be in a lot of trouble, like way more trouble than it's worth. This is the most controversial moment in the history of this company and maybe even the sport. There have been some controversies. You look at even the Nashville Brawl, back for Strikeforce. This is above that. This was on a bigger scale. This is one of the most anticipated fights of all time. It's going to be one of the most best-selling and most profitable pay-per-views of all time for the UFC. To risk that, especially now with the new ESPN deal, by setting up something in this way, no. So, like I said, as it turns out, Khabib's just not a big fan of personal attacks. Who would have thought? But still, I gotta admit, at the very least, I don't want to use the word disappointed because, hey, it is what it is. But like I said, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what your upbringing is. I don't think anyone likes to feel as though their morals, their values, their family, their religion are being attacked. But still, there's a high road in that situation, and needless to say, Khabib didn't take said high road. Let me know, though. Like I said, just want to rant and ramble about this. I've been asked about it. I streamed in the aftermath of it happening. It's just, it is what it is. But I do want to know your opinion on the subject. Let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, in the description, I'll link those MMA on Point videos that you might find interesting. If you were wondering what some of the other build-up is to this, of course, it's not just Conor taking his title, taking Khabib's title shot. It's not just the Dolly incident. There's so much that led to this. It was really the perfect storm for this to happen the way it did. And like I said, how this all pans out in the immediate future, how we look back at this 3 to 5 years to now, I'm so excited just to see, to be able to look back on this entire event. But guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time.